Now, the United States has ended its long-standing policy of offering visa-free residency to Cuban migrants. Introduced decades ago, the policy allows Cubans who reach US soil to remain in the country on a permanent visa. Now, Cuban migrants will be subject to the same restrictions as people from any other country. The Cuban government has welcomed the move and will readmit those turned away from the United States. Well, for more on this, Anelise Borges joins us now from Havana. Anelise, can you just explain to us what this shift in policy will mean for Cubans?
Absolutely. This is an extremely significant move by the U.S., especially for the younger generations here in Cuba, those more ambitious Cubans, more open towards the idea of perhaps trying better job opportunities in the United States. I've been speaking to young Cubans over the last few hours who told me, esto cambia todo. This changes everything. What is being taken away from Cubans here is the possibilities, this special U.S. immigration status. Basically, the wet foot, dry foot policy meant that any Cuban national who managed to reach U.S. soil would be automatically eligible for American citizenship. And that was, of course, a policy that dated back from the 1960s, when the U.S. did not see fit to send Cubans back to the hands of Fidel Castro during the Cold War. But over the years, this policy has served as a huge incentive for Cubans who were perhaps driven to try a better life in the United States. Now, many here are feeling as though they are trapped. There's no more relatively easy way out of the hardships of life here in Cuba.
So that's what it means for ordinary Cubans, but what impact will it have on the politics and the political diplomatic ties between the two countries?
Oh, the Cuban government had been demanding this policy change for quite a few years now. And during the Havana basically blames this policy on a huge brain drain from the island. And over the last year or so, Cubans have been expecting this to happen. There's been a huge increase in the number of Cubans arriving on U.S. port of arrivals. As many as 50,000 are believed to have arrived last year. That is a 5-year high. So negotiations for this change have been in the making for quite some time. Over the last few months, U.S. and Cuban officials have been meeting to try and come to an agreement, but that has been kept secret because of fears of many more thousands trying to go to the U.S. before the deadline.
And Anelise, I have to ask you, with Donald Trump, president-elect, being inaugurated, I think, what is it, around a week from now, is there any chance that he could revoke this decision?
Well, absolutely. Donald Trump has been a vocal critic of Barack Obama's moves to improve relations with Cuba. And in theory, he could indeed basically revoke this decision and pretty much everything else that has been put in place over the last 2 years between the two countries. But if you think about it, this change, this policy, particular policy, seems to fit Donald Trump's hard stance on immigration. Basically, Barack Obama is scrapping a law that has allowed for hundreds of thousands of people who arrived illegally in the U.S. to settle there. So whether or not Donald Trump will change this remains to be seen. He could. This is an administrative rule that Barack Obama is imposing, and Donald Trump could indeed revoke this when he becomes president next week.
Okay, interesting. Anelise, thank you.